is on making your research project fun or less harmful. Use ChatGPT in a clever way. Presenting here again, our visiting Prof. Yoshiyuki Matsuura from Yamaguchi University. So I guess that today's session will give me another point of view of how we can use ChatGPT a research project. So I guess the floor is yours, Prof.
Okay. Thank you and good morning. And I'm really happy that we have the participant to this particular session. While having the chit chat with the Prof here, I already told that the talk itself is of course assuming the graduate student who will start their research project. But my true intention is to share our way to supervise our PhD and the master student. And in this relationship, I need to brief our school itself and the expected role to me. I already shared with the professors here. As you see, I am the director of the Asian Innovation Center. Of course, on surface, this Asian Innovation Center is for the facilitating innovation management, research, and education in collaboration with the partner university, including AAGBS in ASEAN region. But our true intention is to let our platform will help the entrepreneurs of the companies in each country will capitalize on our relationship when they go abroad. Let's say, for instance, if Malaysian company want to do something in Japan, maybe the executive maybe graduating from the AAGBS will contact the staffs at the AAGBS and they will introduce us and we will do some feasibility study and to help those entrepreneurs to do something in Japan. So we are not so strict in terms of the format and the structure of the thesis. And my supervision itself is more personalized. So throughout this lecture and talk, I hope you will be interested in and you will evaluate the pros and cons of our approach in comparison with your own approach. Okay, now move on to the main body. I read these two guidelines. And the left one is for maybe the part-time student or the business school student. The right one is for the PhD or the master student or the BBA student who are willing to be the lecturer in the future. After reading this, the guidelines itself are perfect. And I wish we have this kind of the guideline. So if you strictly follow this guideline, probably you will be the perfect researcher and there should be no problem. But if I say so, my talk will immediately stop. So I will talk a little bit more about how I am teaching and how our students will be nurtured. Okay, so at the very beginning, and this is maybe the really usual talk with my student. And although this story is about the undergrad student, but very common question that business school students, members, and the usual university students and university researchers are facing, especially recently. You can read. My senior, working at the Faculty of Commerce in one of the largest Japanese private universities, I can say the true name, Nippon University, the largest Japanese private university. And the faculty does not make writing thesis mandate for undergrad student. Meanwhile, students belong to seminar or the lab managed by a faculty member. If they want to write a thesis, that's quite common worldwide. And the seminar is assigned at the beginning of third year and assume the student keep belonging to the seminar until the graduation. And write a thesis once registered. But we know that registering seminar itself is optional, and writing thesis is also optional, but mandate to get credit from the seminar. And he complained that recently the number of the registrants to the seminar in general has steadily increased, but the number of the quitting in the middle of the seminar also increased, even though they complete more than half of the thesis. Why? They called on the supervisor's office and say, as you can read here, Prof, I can successfully receive an official job offer from a company in my mind. Telling the seminar activity and appealing how I had worked hard for the seminar during the interview. And those talk actually impress the interviewer. And the students say, I have to say, I owe a lot to you, Prof. And then he say, as there is no reason to study at the seminar further, I will quit and get the remaining credit by attending regular courses. Although I think the participant today is not this kind of the student of the did not spend your student life in this manner, but this is the reality. So what I want to say, and I am always thinking as a teacher and the supervisor and sometimes the consultant, I am always thinking why this can be happen. So I am always ask my young members, including Alpha, Dr. Alpha, or some other young lecturers, asking that question in the bottom. Is the student rational or missing valuable chances to write a thesis? Really fundamental. But what I want to say here is we have to, as a supervisor and the student as well, have to be critical, not just to read little on the guideline. Why we have to write a thesis? For that, we have to be very critical. So, in order to use the ChatGPT, I asked this question at first. If you are ready to use the ChatGPT, you can open ChatGPT and hope you will do the same question and the same conversation with ChatGPT. I asked, I am an MBA student. Why should I write a master's thesis? How can I get from writing it? And ChatGPT answered in the following. Writing a master's thesis offers MBA students a comprehensive way to enhance their knowledge, skill, professional opportunity. It involves rigorous research, critical thinking, and effective communication, all of which are crucial in business world. Additionally, it contributes to the academic and the practical understanding of the business topic, potentially influencing future practice and policies. Perfect. Principally. But I don't think this answer will convince the MBA student or to motivate the MBA student to write a paper or to write a thesis. So I further ask with this question, does it help my future? If so, how? And father asked, I am a bit embarrassed with writing master thesis. How should I do? Again, these questions are assuming as if I am a math MBA student. But I do this exercise occasionally in order to reflect whether I am right and I am doing very good at supervising my student. Because I know every student these days are using ChatGPT and ask this kind of conversation. And the answer from ChatGPT, as I just told you, is perfect, officially. But I know if the supervisor will say the same thing, they will not be motivated because what we will say is almost same with the answer from the ChatGPT. So I further asked, what you are saying is the standard thesis writing process, meaning that how should I do means I ask the process. But writing process, I can learn from the guideline. So I want to know how I can enjoy it. Do the same thing if you can use ChatGPT now. And further ask, I don't want to spend so much time for doing thesis project. What should I do? Again, sometimes the student and the supervisors have some mental constraint. And we sometimes surrender from thinking why we have to impose the writing the thesis. And the students sometimes forget, okay, I have to write a master thesis anyhow. But they don't think why. But I believe thinking the necessity of the writing master thesis itself is nurturing your critical thinking competence. So now you understand what I want to say in this slide. I believe if MBA or the business school want to nurture the student critical thinking competence, asking those questions is very important. So emerging concern of critical thinking enhancement in VUCA world. As you can see here, the cutting edge techniques today may become outdated in a short period of time. And employees are desired to make independent or sound judgment about the complex situation they face, or even challenge the established theory and the practice to advance new knowledge. So that's why AAGBS and some other business schools are emphasizing the enhancement of the critical thinking competence. Reflecting those concerns and interests, I always ask my student this question and reflect yourself and to define and to be determined why you need to write the thesis. This is the starting point to make our student critical. In order to enhance and their critical thinking, their competence. And if the statement here is true, they always need to be very skeptical and critical about the existing processes itself. Not only the research process itself, rather the necessity of the something that they are assumed to do. So I further ask my student, if you admit the statement in the previous slide, the technique and knowledge will deteriorate within a short period, what do you expect to take away from writing your thesis? Usually the heaviest tasks among the studies at the business school. I told at the very beginning our supervision and our research guidance is completely different from the accredited school. And we always say to our part-time Japanese student at the age of 30 or 40, you don't need to worry so much about the content itself. And you can always ask the technique and knowledge if you need it. Ask us or ask someone expert again, because they are manager or the entrepreneur or the business owners, and they have money. And if they want to have cutting edge knowledge or the cutting edge technique, they can look for the consultant, or they can collaborate with the university researcher as well. So we always tell our student, you can forget techniques and knowledge, but you have to be clever in viewing your own business from the critical perspective and in order to enhance your skill to ask the right question, in order to facilitate the collaboration with the expert and the professional. And from that perspective, be critical, and you have to determine your goal to write a thesis. This is what we usually tell our students. And I know the AAGBS stressed the importance of the critical thinking, but at the same time, the creativity is also a matter of interest. Why critical thinking and the creativities are both needed? As you can see here, creativity is a source of innovation, since innovation implies something new. How about if you are just critical thinker? As you can see in the bottom, critical thinking without creativity reduces to mere skepticism and negativity. And creativity without critical thought reduces to mere novelty. So we have to be equipped. Of course, the level of the competence of the creativity and the critical thinking are contingent on the personality and the trait. But we try to be competent both at critical thinking and the creative thinking at the same time. Because business school and the graduate school in general do not want to nurture just the kind of the skeptical business person. We expect the graduate to be innovator or to be the good manager, or we don't want the graduate will be the manager who always say no to their subordinates or their juniors. And we expect the graduate managers will show them some kind of the new idea or something. In order to be like kind of a very good manager, in my understanding, the graduate has to be creative as well as critical. So, after saying so, I usually ask as a make kind of the final confirmation before starting their research project. Set your own goal of writing a thesis. Of course, I have more long list to show my student, and this is a kind of abbreviation. But asking my student, you want to do the writing the research for critical thinking enhancement, or learning brand new technique, or for good research output itself, or for writing a scientific paper, or for getting high grade, or for your future business, or for winning fund, or for fun, or some of those students will agree. Of course, they will never say so, but just for graduation. Depends. But I always ask, please to be honest. Then I will arrange my supervision style to my student. So providing that, what should be your utmost concern providing the research guideline? Of course, you have to follow the research guideline, but how to apply research guideline, how to follow the research guideline will be somewhat different, contingent on your utmost concern. Again, I believe the critical thinking competence of our students are most enhanced by asking this very fundamental question. So honestly speaking, I spent almost 1 month of this process to let our students convince the importance of the necessity of writing a thesis itself and to determine the goal of the research project itself. Again, I admire this statement. Cutting-edge technique today may become outdated in a short period of time. And the managers will not be able to catch up the development of their emergence of new technique. But critical thinking competence itself is not obsoleted. And after let our students determine their ultimate goal of writing thesis, I have almost 1 week or 2 weeks to make sure the constraint that the master student or the PhD student are facing. It may be time. The time issue is especially important for MBA students. I'm not sure the duration of the MBA program and the duration of the master and the applied business project program, but it may be half a year, or it may be 3 months, or it may be 1 year. But you have to be critical and you have to be realistic what you can do in a specific duration. And second, current skill set and competence, if you are supposed to do alone. And relating to the second constraint, I also make sure what is your network who can help you to proceed your research. Let's say, for instance, if you are planning to conduct a questionnaire survey, the number of the respondents, the number of the answers will be contingent on your network. And third, budget. Probably the fresh graduate and the student in their 20s do not worry so much about this budget. But I told you, most of our students are business manager and they are sometimes business owners of even the listed company. So I asked them the budget, how much they can spend the money for conducting the research. And of course, passion is another important constraint. Some may have huge passion, some may not have. Of course, if I simply ask my student, what about your passion to write a thesis? Of course, they say, I am really passionate, but that's the supervisor's role, the motivation that your student have. So if you're a student, please never hesitate to discuss with your future supervisor and make sure your own passion. And finally, I always check mental bias. This is especially important when we supervise part-time students, because part-time students have huge experience. So they have their own criteria. What is successful? What is the good? What is bad? So they unintentionally have some mental bias. So if I simply ask my student to conduct interview and show me the transcript of something, they never show me the transcript as it is. They always want to say something based on transcript. And I always tell them, I don't want to hear your opinion. Just tell me and just report the evidence and the fact. So that students will realize how biased they are. This is very important. If teachers and the students want to enhance critical thinking skill, and I always tell myself and my student as well this issue. Your supervisor is not your co-author. Of course, no guideline like this issue, but the student, especially the fresh graduates, sometimes may be embarrassed why we have to communicate with our supervisor. So when you ask in the middle, what should I do to address your comment? If you give some comment, if you are the teacher. And I always say, and your supervisor always say, you should think. And if you want answer, ask ChatGPT. They will answer. But not sure the answer persuade your supervisor though. So I sincerely hope if you are the student, confront your supervisor as a hard-to-please boss that you will face in the future. Since teacher's mission is to nurture your critical thinking competence and the skill, as well as creativity through convincing the critics by a unique and novel way. If not, how we can grade you? That's the problem. Okay, now we move on to the model research process, and I will give you some suggestion how to make the research process less harmful or more interesting or more efficient. But we know that, and probably this model research process is already taught by the any research class. But this process proceed in a straightforward way. You will face many iterations. And first, you may heard this issue. Academic way of thinking is to stand on the shoulders of giants. That's why we have to refer many papers. And what generative AI or ChatGPT is all about in this academic context. As you can see in the bottom, generative AI helps you to stand on the shoulders of giants quite easily. That's what generative AI is for. Actually, when I looking back my master days of the PhD days, it's very difficult to stand on the shoulders of giants because I don't have any internet. When I want to read any paper, I have to go to the library and find the journal and the magazines they are published 15 years ago or 16 years ago. And I sometimes having the runny noses in the smelly library. But you don't need to do so. So literature itself is very easy. So if you are sharing the way of thinking, and if you are as your student, if you are the student, and to think about the generative AI in this way, it's very to make generative AI is help me to stand on the shoulders of the giant. But be noted, I never use the term creative or innovative in saying so. And providing that, we have to be clever in using the ChatGPT for being critical during the initial phase. Okay, so we can simulate and we can virtually experience the entire research process with ChatGPT. No need to hesitate to use ChatGPT and relying on it as your every-time personal tutor. Then your research process is less harmful. And this is actually I am doing recently. I direct my student to ask ChatGPT at first in a manner such as this. I will conduct master thesis research on halal awareness among Malaysian generation Z with publicly available data. Advise me how to articulate problem statement, research question, and a hypothesis, as well as publicly available data and suitable testing method for the data you propose. And guide my student to report the answer from ChatGPT. And ask my student, is it interesting for you? Or is it in accordance with your objective that you already decided? And if so, I will show them the green light. Okay, we will start accordingly. But sometimes to articulate this very comprehensive question is very difficult, especially for young graduate student. So I propose common approach for thinking research theme with ChatGPT in this way. I'm not sure the research project determination process at the AAGBS, but this slide imagine that you can propose any topic. You can choose marketing topic, the organizational topic, or the finance topic, or anything. So in that case, you ChatGPT as if you bounce your idea of it until you can select research idea fitting you by putting your info as many as possible. But to be very good ChatGPT user, never forget the term best to put in a prompt. Never ask in a generic term. Why? ChatGPT and some of the novice ChatGPT users tend to be disappointed. Just ask the very generic question. But if you put best or worst or some other comparative adjective, ChatGPT shows why he think or she think it's best. So I told my student, in addition to use the term best, always write your objective as well. Let's say, tell me the best topic and providing my objective is, let's say, just for graduation or just for writing the creative scientific paper. And if you will be more knowledgeable about the conversation with ChatGPT, I strongly recommend to do this iterative conversation with ChatGPT. Then you can understand how the ChatGPT is learning the conversation. Again, the next generation employees are expected to be capable in using ChatGPT. If you don't hesitate to spend your considerable time for this conversation, you will be able to enhance dramatically your prompting skill at this stage. Although you already learned the very basics of prompting techniques and prompting and prompt engineering, but if you don't want to be the prompt engineers, the instant way to be capable in prompting is this iteration. Then you will understand the logic behind ChatGPT as well. And probably, my question in the slide is somewhat curious and sometimes complicating and conflicting as well. I just think to some keyword, without thinking anything, let's say I just wrote that I love chocolate lover or something like that. And the irrelevant things is put in your prompt. But ChatGPT tried to answer anyhow by combining several keywords. And this, prompting will help you reflect your own interest and your own personality and your own goal as well. Again, I always direct my student to do this process. And on the other way, if you are already determined in which topic and in which research field you will conduct your research, then you are suggested to ask in this way, what about hot topic in marketing research? Here is a list of the ChatGPT suggestion. ChatGPT replies 14 hot topics in marketing, starting from customer data analytics and big data until influencer marketing effectiveness. And after having this list, you will choose one or few hot topics that you may be interested in and iterate the same question let's say, if you are interested in influencer marketing effectiveness, change my question more specifically. What about hot topics in influencer marketing effectiveness? And then you have several answers. And you can further dig. What about hot topic in some specific area? This approach is to use ChatGPT more like search engine like Google, Chrome, or the Copilot or anything. But I usually suggest this approach instead of looking for the literature on the Google Chrome or the Google or anything, simply because they can have the good understanding about the important topic itself, not specific paper. And another approach to have good research team is reviewing the standalone review paper. Probably if you are the student and you can casually ask your supervisor candidate, because most of your supervisor have experience to write standalone literature review paper, and they know what it's all about. And as you can see in this slide, they are thinking of research team. They're having the research program and the conducting literature review are not often so commenced in order and the iterative process. And it's very challenging, even thinking up the research team, especially for those who don't have much working experience. So of course, I don't have, at least in the coming 15 years, I don't have any chances to be asked this kind of question. Prof, what topic should I choose or something? Because as I told you, most of our students are part-time, and they are student and they are manager and they are business owners, and they decided to study at the school in order to have some solution, or in order to have the new business idea. But it's quite natural, and it doesn't mean you are not good student if young researcher and the young student cannot think up good research team. Again, in that case, you can try the former options using ChatGPT or putting your own information or reading a standalone literature review. So I suggest to read several standalone papers before reading the specific research paper. But when I say so, I didn't mean reading SLR, systematic literature review paper. If some of you may be interested in and if you have a chance to hear the recorded version of my lecture yesterday, you can understand how and what I understand SLR is. I usually tell my students systematic literature review paper is a kind of catalog. Without any subjective bias. And standalone literature review are a little bit more biased, meaning that evaluation by professionals. And doing this literature review search at the Google Chrome and Google Scholar. And if you can find papers having all the keyword strings that you put, and you can say it's established research area, and a considerable number of the relevant papers already exist. And further, if you can find a review paper published in the last few years as well, you can say there may be a research gap in that area. Otherwise, literature review paper will not be accepted in the index journal. Because standalone, one of the important contribution and the role of the standalone literature review is to propose future research stream and to identify the research gap as well. So if standalone literature review paper is published, let's say in 2 years ago or 1 year ago, the reviewers at least agree there is still research gap in that specific research topic. So you can see the feature of the standalone literature review paper. There are fourfold objectives. First, describe available knowledge for professional practice and identify effective research project and technique. And third, identify expert within a given field and identify unpublished sources. And standalone literature review has a wider scope and higher rigor than literature review in the research paper or thesis, which are usually the literature review part in the specific research paper and the literature review part of the thesis are usually really subjective and casual. That's why I'm not sure you are experienced or not. You are not probably asked from your supervisor or reviewers when you do literature review in this genuine research paper, why you refer this? Although you may ask, why you don't refer this? Because it's truly casual, and reviewers can already understand literature review part before the hypothesis development is not a catalog of the relevant research. So you can use the standalone literature review paper of the catalog for existing knowledge as well as the potential research topic. But this is contrasting part which distinguish from the systematic literature review prepared by professional and can defend the importance of your research backed by professional examination. Let's say one of the eye-catching and the reputed scholars made and wrote a standalone paper, and the authors pinpointing this research topic is still under the research. So you can use that sentence as your defense. Why you are doing this research? Okay. And once you decide your research topic, most of you will visit, or it may be a mandate to visit academic research database in order to identify relevant papers with a keyword string as per your own preferences and interests. And then you will find the standard and the model, the research paper. And to be efficient, most instance way to frame your research problem is, let's say you would choose the one specific paper And if the paper refers to specific domain, in this case, geographical domain, so I mark the Ghana and replace with Malaysia and borrow research program, research question, and research methodology if you confirm. No paper investigating the almost same topic in Malaysian context, providing your constraint, mean time, budget, or anything. Then you can imitate the flow and deliberate how to collect the equivalent data. But the difficulty of this approach may vary drastically contingent on your constraint or your objective. If you really want to be the academic researcher, I strongly suggest this approach. Why? Actually, based on my experience, the most creative and the critical graduate is nurture their critical thinking and the creativity through this process. Why? She successfully become the very critical business person. As you can see in the bottom, I mean to include even replicating the literature review, meaning that all the paper referred in the literature review. And reading literature, the cited paper itself is a standard process, but I usually ask them to see if you agree the way to cite the paper. And actually, this is what the reviewers usually do. When we submit the top journal, we usually confirm whether the authors cite the specific papers in the right way or their way to cite is inconsistent, our understanding or not. It's a kind of the confirmation, the validation, whether the researchers conduct their instant way, meaning second-hand citation of something. And if I use a very simple term, let's say one paper, refer my paper saying something about very good. But I, as author, didn't mean to say good. Rather, saying good before saying something bad. So my main objective is to say something about dark side. But the author will read my paper until in the middle and never reflect and never respect my true intention. That can be happen if the literature review is conducted in a casual way. So if you do this process seriously, tracing the literature review is the most crucial part of your research of this way, this instant way. However, as far as you are very careful about plagiarism, again, I am assuming the students want to enhance their critical thinking skill, not writing the brilliant paper. Again, I am strongly suggest this approach, and sometimes the student may think this approach is an instant way and should be recommended. but never so. I usually recommend this for master student. As you can see at the top, students can nurture academic critical thinking competence and find concrete idea for improvement by binding themselves to the predetermined research design. Because if students are really ambitious and want to do something, you always need to feel uneasy, because what I instruct my students is just to follow. I don't allow them to diverge from research design itself. And after completing the first research, I eventually asked, what is the problem of this approach? And they have very clear idea, the room for improvement. I never ask this question in the middle. If the student really want to be the researcher, and especially for those who part-time students, this approach is also very helpful. Unlike the academic critical thinking competence, following this approach, students can nurture practical critical thinking competence. Since those research styles cannot assume other things being equal condition. Thus, they are forced to feel uneasy every time they find different factors or different weights for each factor should be considered in order to better explain the case or event. Why? If you are the business school teacher or you are the part-time student, just imagine, if you say or you read some companies succeed, let's say open innovation, and you will read the story and the process until the succession in the open innovation, and think you just try open innovation at your company, just strictly follow the story. You will never succeed. We usually call this problem is benchmark syndrome, because other things being equal condition cannot be happen in the real world. This company and that company is different. In this case, I occasionally ask the part-time students, so why do you think this approach cannot be possible or feasible or appropriate in your context? Then asking them, do you think whether you are enhancing your critical thinking skill or the competence? So never think so difficult to think up the good research team if your objective is to be more competitive business person of the academia. So I want to stress the sentence in the bottom. This instant approach helps minimize personal prejudice because you are binded. There is no room to input your own prejudice or bias. And this is very good training to avoid the risk of over-imitation. Over-imitation is a copy. Or to follow something as well, which is unnecessary. This over-imitation is the specific jargon in social study and the education. And describe the situation children imitate the behavior of parents, which parents do not want to their children copy. And more challenging approach. This is for PhD student. I never recommend this approach for master student. Imagine you are interested in green innovation in stationery business. PhD students usually assume to proceed academic career. So having the very critical and solid understanding about the importance of the construct or concept is the key. So to be critical and innovative researcher, I suggested to spend time to form your concrete idea of crucial construct. Again, I use the term green innovation in stationery business. So if you are a PhD student and I am supposed to be your supervisor, before reading your research proposal, I just check your title and ask this question. You use the term green innovation in stationery business. Okay, so what is green? So what is innovation? And what is stationery industry? And if students can answer this very simple question in a well-articulated way, then I start to read research proposal. This is my approach. So this approach demands higher order metaphysical competence. Why? I am stressed. This approach is very crucial, and this process is very crucial. Before moving on to the process, I want to stress this. These acts of self-question, asking why and what is innovation, will never end and will not deliver any visible output. And it's seemingly contrary with academic thinking, which rely on prior knowledge and inference. However, this habit must help you as a researcher and a teacher in the long run. As I've been realizing and getting mature, since it will help keeping holistic view and wide perspective. And if you are the active faculty members, I think you can sympathize with the second sentence. When you be the researcher or the face publication KPI or the data constraint, you and I sometimes have to be very practical and go for definition shopping. Meaning that to look for some definition, let's say innovation, which is consistent with the data. And then you will be too versatile in higher order conceptual work. And forget the importance of construct and the concept without those training habit. Although we usually stress the importance of the understanding and the crystallization, the visualization of the construct and the concept. Why I am confident the importance of this. If you are the management student or the management researcher, you may heard the name of Professor Nonaka. he is guru of the research-based view, and they proposed the Seki model. And he was the professor of my mother school, mother university. When I was PhD student and attended his class, I was surprised. His course assignment is to read Aristotle's, not management paper. I attend his class for 2 years. I never read any management journal or any management book. Keep reading psychological book only. And at the meeting and the dinner meeting and the dinner party before the graduation, and I attended with my student, the direct student, the Prof. Nonaka, and he confessed his intention. You will face up and down of the buzzword in the management. You can be versatile in choosing topic itself. But if you always have clear understanding in the construct of the concept that you are really interested in, you will never suffering from the shortage of the research idea. And you are not be the myopic researcher as well. And I am now, as getting mature, I am now really appreciating his intention. But of course, this approach cannot be possible if we are bounded by strict accreditation. That's my real experience, okay? So this is the case of innovation. What is innovation? To be a good researcher and teacher, again, you are supposed to have your own definition of the crucial construct, while allowing for the diversity of the definition. And I usually ask this question to PhD students. Why? Which you choose? And why you choose this definition? And I can further ask, what is the commonality among the diversity of the definition? And ChatGPT answers in this way. All the definition shared in common the 4 dimension and the 4 elements. First, newness. Second, application and implementation. And third, value creation. And fourth, inclusion. And you should never stop here. If you try to adapt challenging approach, these are kind of greatest common divisor, implying each author may add another factor when they decide and when they define innovation. And my final question to PhD students is in that next sentence. But why these authors use the term innovation with additional factors instead of using different terminology? To describe some specific phenomenon or event. This is another very good practice to be critical. But again, this takes time. So I don't suggest a BA student to do this training. doing this when you be a manager or the executive or when you be the PhD student. This will never end. So time will fly so fast. And I asked in the case of the part-time student, I asked this question. I am happy now, have many occasions to give a lecture to the practitioners about the innovation, especially for those who related to innovation. And I actually asked this question for a seminar for the R&D personnel, researcher, and the developer at one of the largest Japanese chemical company. Are you doing innovation or are you doing research? So how do you answer? How about your concept, the difference in your understanding between innovation and research? Of course, some of the participants replied to me as I expected. So, Prof, what is the difference between research and innovation? Again, this question, just to give some kind of instinct, stimuli to let the participant think what is all about research and innovation. Otherwise, they will not have clear image and they fail to map what they will learn throughout the seminar and how they will use that concept and knowledge in particular situation and the particular context one. And this is more like the casual talk rather than the official talk. But the coming few slides to let you think what is innovation all about, assuming you are considering or you are expected to supervise your PhD student in a more challenging way. My question is, the red circled pen is an innovation or just a new product? The circled pen is a new series of the world best-selling pen from Uni and the Mitsubishi Pencil Company. I found the Uni series is also available in Malaysia. And the pens on the left-hand side is a bamboo-made grip. And right-hand side features industry first certified product for ocean plastic recycling. And my question is, you can have your own answer. Can we categorize this ocean plastic recycling product as a kind of the green something? If this satisfies your innovation criteria, this can be a subject for green innovation in stationary business research. Then you are confident with yourself and you are always ready to defend yourself. What this is all about. And after doing this iteration, I will finally check. I will make a finally check to my student. Who is the intended leader? Whose problem you are trying to solve? And why should they lead as well? Of course, I usually bypass this question to part-time students because they are solving their own problems. It will be happy if they will be satisfied themselves. But for young researchers, sometimes forget intended leader during the research process. So I usually remind the young researchers occasionally in the research process. So I ask again, who is your intended leader? In saying so, this is my personal style. Everyone knows when you write a scientific paper, the journal usually demands when we submit to the management journal to write the managerial implication and the academic implication, meaning that we have to have the clear intended leader in academia as well as the managerial field. Otherwise, the student will face the problem in writing those implication part, or just a kind of the repetition, saying the same thing. Or ask your supervisor, Prof, what I should write. Okay. Then we will successfully move on to the literature review part. I say standalone literature review paper should have complete different role than the typical literature review in your thesis. Usually, literature review part in the thesis have 4 major objectives. First, compilation of the understanding of the subject matter. And second, testament to the rigorous research dedication. And third, justification of the thesis and the future research. And fourth, invitation to academic tradition and etiquette. And of course, everyone knows the more paper you read, the higher abbreviation may be, actually. But if you think in this way, you may be overwhelmed and scream how many papers I should read. And I always reflect myself, and you, especially the young researcher and the young graduate student, should be minded what I wrote in the bottom. Researchers are inclined to search, choose, and read papers which reinforce our own idea and fit our preconceived idea as well. It's called confirmation bias. Especially when we face many constraints. So now the case for ChatGPT. Again, start your own ChatGPT and follow the same thing. When you decide to conduct your own literature review, if you follow my terminology of the instant upload, you can skip this. But if you conduct your own literature review, you should be aware of your own selection criteria, meaning how you will choose the paper. Instead, you can rely on ChatGPT as a starting point in order to avoid confirmation bias. If you do so, never stop at having an advice. You are highly suggested to keep asking more and more in order to understand algorithm and embedded the protocol in ChatGPT at citing paper. Furthermore, you can also use the reference made by ChatGPT and see how your reference criteria differ from the ChatGPT suggestion or recommendation to make sure on selection bias after completing your own literature review. Again, I never prohibit my student to use ChatGPT as a reference of literature review, but I usually demand the student to declare you want to use ChatGPT as a starting point or use as a reference point. That's all. And hopefully, when you have time, and I strongly suggest to be capable and to be good user of ChatGPT in the academic context. I suggest to do this, the never-ending conversation with ChatGPT in your research field. I first start the question on the top. I need to conduct green innovation in constructive industry research as a part of my master's thesis. Please advise a model literature review with referring to more than 30 papers. Unfortunately, if you are using free ChatGPT, the ChatGPT will never reply more than 30 papers. So 30 papers is if you are using the free ChatGPT, is directing the ChatGPT as many as possible. And next, if once we have the answer, I will further ask, how did you decide which paper you would cite? Tell me the criteria for the citation or the citing. And if you ask ChatGPT almost in the same manner, the answer from ChatGPT may be really generic. Then I will ask, no, I am asking how you decide to choose those papers as the reference when you propose the model literature review and elaborate more specifically. Probably most of the students who are the novice to ChatGPT stops, even if they are very conscious, usually stop at the first or the second question and never ask third question. And you may have more specific criteria or the filtering rule ChatGPT adapted. And when I ask the first question, ChatGPT suggests Abidin NZ 2010 as one of the important academic achievement, which argues about the green innovation issue in Malaysian context. And I ask, you referred Abidin 2010. And from the criteria you mentioned above, the answer to the third question, how did you decide this paper is worth to cite? Elaborate in depth as possible. And the answer is more and more specific. And I further ask, I think there are many other papers which investigate the issue in Malaysian context. Why not others? And of course, I asked many more. And for my own training, when I was the first time user of ChatGPT, but I stopped this question. You can ask further, and it will never end. And the next question is, tell me more specifically by making comparison with other papers from Malaysia and prioritize to refer that paper. Again, asking this question itself doesn't take time. But this iteration or this practice will help you to be a very good user of ChatGPT in academic context. Why? It's very important and it's very useful. Some of you who doesn't have engineering or IT background may think ChatGPT is doing the deep learning or the machine learning and to deliver the useful answer. And you may further think the algorithm or the process of the machine learning may be a kind of the alien world. So I cannot understand. But to recommend something, machine learning need to have some criteria. So you don't need to understand mathematical formula, but you have to understand the criteria. And if you ask the last question, tell me more specifically by making comparison with other papers from Malaysia. And the reason why you prioritize to refer that paper, ChatGPT answers this way. First, relevance to for topic. Abidin 2010 focuses specifically on sustainable construction practices among developers, aligning closely with the theme of green innovation in construction. Again, you can ask further why you think this is most relevant to core topic. Of course, my question is asking very broad topic, green innovation in construction. Typically, your research question should be more specific, so you may have more tailored answer. And if you cannot find, and if you fail to have ChatGPT answer, what you are trying to investigate is truly new research topic. And second, publication quality and impact. This Abidin 2010 was published in Habitat International. I don't know this journal, but ChatGPT say a high impact journal, which ensure the legal skill review and the significant academic contribution. So now you understand publication quality and the impact is the second criteria when ChatGPT recommend. And third, empirical evidence and the methodological rigor is the third criteria. And ChatGPT particularly, the study uses robust empirical method, surveys and interview, provoking concrete data and reliable finding. And fifth criteria that ChatGPT has is foundational and highly cited work. And high citation count indicates recognition and influence in the academic community. And fifth, practical and theoretical contribution. Offers both theoretical insight and practical recommendation, making it valuable for comprehensive literature review. If you are the young researcher and you are expected to come up with the ChatGPT or some other generative AI in your long academic career, never stop this. Later, after having this explanation, you actually read this paper and to see ChatGPT's evaluation is exactly the same with your evaluation. In order to have your own academic competence. Again, you can keep doing this conversation endlessly, then you will be knowledgeable about its generative process. And again, I strongly suggest this iteration to be a very good ChatGPT user. Having the knowledge and the skill to have the better prompting and to write a better prompt. But this iteration will let you be more knowledgeable about the algorithm and the learning process behind ChatGPT. And this latter part will be supervised by your future supervisor, and if you are already faculty members, you are having trouble, and like me, you have to make some compromise during the way. But the suggestion from now on is mainly for graduate students and some tips. And I hope you will communicate and providing your objective and your constraint, and to have the feasible approach, because this latter part should be highly constrained by feasibility. And this is the analogy I usually use when I teach, when I was young, the research methodology. I fall in love with a lady. She's very skeptical. She doesn't believe me, no matter how many times I say how much I love you. Then she asked me to show the concrete evidence. What should I do? This is your research. In essence, what you will do is the same with research design and the implementation of the completing research project. Convincing suspicious lady. It will be okay if you are confident with yourself just to show some descriptive statistics, that will be the most innovative way. But usually, skeptical lady will not be convinced just to show the data. So we have to be capable in many different research methodology and the analytical process. Again, the latter process should be feasible, and you have to be realistic with respect to your constraint. You will do the same thing again. When you start to consider the research methodology, I ask, what are popular research methods to investigate the customer buying intention? Tell me the best one. And ChatGPT lists 10 approaches, starting from surveys and questionnaires, the focus group interview, and in-depth interview, and observation. And 5th, experimentation. And 6, data analytics. And 7, conjoint analysis. And 8, sentiment analysis. And 9, customer journey mapping. And 10, neuromarketing. And the answer to second question, the best method. The ChatGPT suggests combining method for comprehensive insight. Again, perfect answer, the textbook answer. Why ChatGPT thinks so? While each of these methods has its strength and can be highly effective in certain contexts, the best approach often involves combining multiple methods to gain a comprehensive understanding of customer buying intention. Yes, I totally agree. But again, maybe 1 hour before, I suggest to be careful in using the term best. This is the bad example to use the term best. And I asked further. I know combining is the ideal, but I can spend only half a year for the thesis. And it's difficult to apply the combining method. Please figure out only one approach providing the constraint. And ChatGPT answers, survey and questionnaire is the best. For 3 main reasons, speed and efficiency, and scalability, and the qualitative and quantitative insight. As such, you can also use the ChatGPT as a good consultant as far as you have clear constraint objective. Of course, it exclusively depends on you whether you take ChatGPT suggestion or not. But some young students naturally choose survey and questionnaire approach. But if you spend 10 minutes and ask this question to ChatGPT, even young students will understand, will have a good reason to defend themselves why you choose survey approach or questionnaire approach. Because providing my lack of the experiences, and I think in order to deliver generalized answer, providing my time. The speed and efficiency is the highest, and it's scalable, and we can also investigate a qualitative issue as well as the quantitative issue. Probably, I'm not sure my friend at the AAGBS, but I personally think if young graduate student in the middle of 25 will answer in that way, I will be satisfied. But, and then nevertheless, survey and the questionnaire is the best for delivering the good insight within a predetermined time frame. But as you get more matured and get more and more experience, you will be pretty scary to conduct survey because, as I wrote in the top bottom, it's not unusual. The data does not support, especially when we conduct survey and to get the data from the questionnaire. So if we are binded by the constraint, we always need to prepare backup plan. And providing that these are the tips for survey user, and I tell this for those who prefer survey approach. Imagine you receive email requesting your collaboration in answering your questionnaire survey from your friend. You are very attentive and decide to help. Once you open the questionnaire file, the sheet is filled with 100 plus questions. Are you confident that you will be able to keep focused and answer all the questions seriously? Everyone saying no. So I ask, if you don't think so, why you don't hesitate to use the questionnaire data for your research? So my message to those who decided to use the survey approach is needing a balanced decision about the trade-off between respondents' motivation and incentive and academic rigor. Meaning that if you want to do something with survey approach, I strongly suggest research question or the hypothesis should be very specific, especially for those who doing research at the master level. If, let's say, we want to investigate 10 or 20 questions, the number of the question must be huge. Of course, if we will pursue to publish our research output of the in-depth journal, probably we should have more. But for those who conduct the research at the master level, and if the ultimate goal is to nurture critical thinking skill and to experience the research process, probably the number of the hypotheses cannot be so large. So I usually suggest just to investigate only 3 or 4 research questions and never ask more than 20 questions in order to secure the mind peacefulness of the respondent, or pay some incentive. That's why I confirm the constraint. Okay, and another tips for statistical users. Although I never talked something about econometric or the empirical approach, I was originally the genuine empiricist. and the featuring econometrics and the quants or something. My acquaintances whom I met in the last 10 years never imagined it, but I am basically pretty particular about statistical testing. So providing that, I suggest those who are not so good at math and stats, it will be okay to be just a user. However, the minimum threshold for you to be equipped with is the level which help you communicate data scientist or analyst. So my suggestion for you who decided to adopt statistical testing, including OLS or something, to ask ChatGPT about assumption. Of course, you can read the assumption in the econometric textbook or something, but usually the textbook refer to mathematical formula. It's okay, you don't need to understand mathematical expression. All you have to do is just to ask ChatGPT. And to see if your data satisfy the assumptions. That's enough. So I usually tell my part-time student, all you have to ask to data professional and scientists is this question. Why you choose this method? Is it the data satisfy the assumption? That's all. Then you can trust. The interpretation is your task. Data science should validate the data is consistent with the methodology. So when I was the moderator at the CIBLO International Conference, in the moderating the sessions of the master student presentation, and here this phrase, maybe some supervisor will guide in this way, and they say, when I ask why you apply OLS, and some students say, OLS result in robust and support my hypothesis as the parameters are blue. If you attend the research methodology course, you may heard the term blue. Of course, I never asked further, but I stopped asking anymore. Why? As you can see here in the photo, OLS estimates are always blue, following Gauss multiple cell level. Even if the data violates the underlying assumption. So again, if you decide after the conversation with your supervisor and to apply any econometric approach, be particular about the assumption only. And finally, some tips about writing the discussion and the conclusion part. This is not for the PhD student and my friend, the faculty members, but I always caution myself to say this before my young student writing the discussion and the conclusion part. And the student confessed me, Prof, reading paper is boring, really boring. And I tell this to my student. You may see many repetition and nothing new. Yes, that's the academic paper. But I also stress good scientific paper should be like that. But unexperienced students sometimes seem to be tempted to something big in the latter part. And try to surprise the leader in the end. But I always caution, thesis is not a detective novel. You don't need to surprise leader. And further say, in case of hypothesis testing approach, what you want to say in the thesis should be condensed in the set of the hypothesis. You are supposed to say something based on the combination of your finding and system body of knowledge in the discussion part. And let students start writing this discussion. And I show you the one bad example. I already get approval for my the past student. The past student conduct the hypothesis testing on the left, and she was successfully having all the hypotheses being accepted. And this bad example made me decide to talk this issue beforehand, providing the hypothesis testing. And she liked the following passage. With a metaverse taking the business world by storm, applying the metaverse in business education can equip students with both theory and practice, simultaneously preparing them for real-world experiences. Additionally, metaverse education can also improve students' cognitive skill, increase their productivity and understanding. And I direct her, delete all the passage. Why? This is especially for young students. If you carefully check the hypothesis on the left, you may immediately find she didn't test any cognitive issue and any skill issue. What they are investigating is attitude. So what you are writing here is more like essay. You don't need to say this. You don't need any hypothesis testing to say this. So again, be careful. Discussion and the conclusion are not essay. And finally, as far as you are having the least skill to exploit ChatGPT and other generative AI, and you have good reason to believe in the answer and suggestion from ChatGPT. But again, all through the lecture so far and my talk so far, I strongly suggest you to keep asking. And if you are familiar with this iteration and the conversation with ChatGPT and becoming the very good user of the ChatGPT, you can conduct your research project far efficiently and faster than while at the equivalent level with a student who did even a few years ago. The question is, how will you spend extra time generative AI creates in order to maximize your student experience? One option is try more challenging research project. Or you may go somewhere, you spend more time for thinking up your new business idea, or you will travel abroad. But be particular about your goal from the starting at the business school. Okay, it's almost past 22 hours, and let me give 5 minutes for going to the men's room. And instead, in the 5 minutes, and the more concrete and the more practical example will be told hereafter. Okay, 5 minutes break. See you later. Yes. Okay, so far my talk is more fundamental, but I hope my talk is somewhat different from your research guidance. And hopefully I am talking some mental readiness before starting the research. And what I want to tell you all through this lecture is to be critical thinker and to be creative thinker as well. That will be the long-lasting asset that you can get from the thesis writing. In order to do so, hope to communicate with your supervisor as the time allows, and try to convince your supervisor, like the lady that I introduced. Then you can be a very critical thinker. From now on, my lecture will be very, very specific. And I will propose some innovation research. The reason why I am delighted to give lecture here and coming here is to facilitate the future collaboration in research and the education field. As you see, I am belonging to innovation school, somewhat different from typical business school. So I hope after hearing my talk, this session and afternoon session and the tomorrow session, will be interested in research about innovation. So I will present the two research projects. One is already completed and made by my graduate master student. Another one is ongoing green innovation research. So those two cases will inspire you to think about the feasibility and invoking your interest. The first is the research made by my master student. And the title is Topic Modeling-Based Pattern Analysis of Mass Timber as a Low Carbon Material for High-Rise Building. Although this student has engineering background when she was undergrad, but she is completely new to text mining as well as pattern. What I want to tell you is, although you will be completely novice to text mining and pattern analysis, you can write with the same quality as far as you have very good research topic. Of course, good and tall building may not be possible with the current technology in Malaysia. So many scope and the high humidity. But everyone in the construction industry are seriously thinking the future evolution of the wood and tall building. This building is, except the glass, are fully made by wood in Norway. Why she want to investigate this? The first reason is high-rise building is steadily increasing. If you are over 30, you experience high-rise building is increasing one after another in KL and the Shah Alam as well. As you can see here, the number of the high-rise building up to 2,000 is quite limited. But now, more than 100 the high-rise building is built and completed every year. And the number of the high-rise building will increase dramatically again after the COVID. So why low carbon material for high-rise building is important? High-rise building construction consumes more energy and material than low-rise building. And when we say carbon emission from construction, we assume there are two types of the carbon. One is operational carbon, and another one is embedded carbon. And you may see the many industry, including construction industry, try to make process, the building process or the construction process will be more emission-free. But the student see how to reduce and the strategy for reducing embedded carbon will be the next problem. And as you can see on the right, the embedded carbon, almost 90% of the embedded carbon will be from material, iron, concrete, or some other. So when it comes to the high-rise building, as far as I observed in Malaysia, all the high-rise building is in Malaysia, especially in this, the Shah Alam or the KL field, are heavy energy user and they are very bad for the sustainable work. So it will be the case for wooden material. So before talking about the research itself, I want to introduce what is mass timber. Based on the Industrial Association definition, mass timber can be defined as follows: a building system that uses wood and bonded together in layers to create and strong and sustainable planks, posts, beams, and other structural elements. Mass timber materials are designed to achieve the same strength ratings as non-wood material like concrete and steel, while maintaining a much lighter weight. And in a broader sense, there are 7 types of mass timber: CLT, GLT, GLT, NLT, LVL, PSL, and LSL. You will check on ChatGPT what each means later on. Providing that this master student set research objective as follows. First, I have to say mass timber building is steadily increasing, yet its use for high-rise building is still at infant phase because of critical challenges: fire safe, stability, and insulation, and others, especially if we want to seriously consider the building, the high-rise building, wood and high-rise building in Malaysia or some other tropical field. The most challenging part is humidity issue. However, no extensive patent analysis conducted in this specific context. So she wants to fill this gap. Providing this background, she wanted to perform a patent analysis to identify technology structure and the future promising technology of mass timber as a low carbon material applied to high-rise building. And as I told, I asked the student who will be the target leader. And she defined R&D managers working in construction industry for developing technology development strategy. And about academic field, professionals looking for collaboration candidates. And start this research. And the title is, she extensively used the patent data for this. And she used the data from the WENT, one of the world's largest patent database, and extract the data with the relevancy criteria based on international patent classification. And use the following keyword as well. Again, the good AI users will be capable in choosing these keyword strength. And if you have broader view and you will get more experience in some specific research and the topic of something, you will be confident that yourself that you can think up many different set of keyword strength. Not only for patent search, any search in general. And she showed the application by country and year. And she find at first, US and China lead inventive activities in this area after controlling for WO. WO means the patent treaty application, meaning that to apply the same invention to multiple countries. Meanwhile, she also found in 2012, for the first time, CLT panels combined with blue beams and columns were used as an alternative construction system to concrete and steel in North America. As far as I remember, it was Canada. And with this success, the number of the patent application astonishingly increased. And she is also interested in the application by mass timber type. Before conducting this research, the main part of this research, she completed the literature review, systematic literature review type, the literature review, and find the CLT is the most prominent mass timber type in the academic circle, particularly in relation to high-rise building. However, interpretation from the patent data, not CLT, LVL constitute the largest proportion. So she inferred LVL can be regarded as a well-established wood material historically utilized in conventional wood structures. And CLT is still an emerging material. So she concludes divergence in the application of these two mass timber products could potentially be attributed to LVL's enhanced productivity compared to other alternatives, rendering them more suitable for specific projects. So, despite increased complexity and the cost of manufacturing CLT panel, the sphere strength, meaning the CLT sphere strength properties, make them a more viable choice for building with elevated structural demands, meaning that she wants to say the next promising invention and the strategy is how to let CLT be cost effective, meaning that CLT finish or still moving on to the low phase, and the shift, the focal will be shifting from the material itself later the production phase. And time trend by type. And she said, the pattern records for LVL can be traced back to 1986-3. MPS can be traced back to 1989. Meanwhile, as you can see, the DLT and GLT is more recent. And as I introduced, 2012 as the one of the milestone year for Ute high-rise building. Again, if you are capable to use the patent data, you can do the same thing with your own interest. Nothing so special so far. And after showing these descriptive data, she moved on to the main part and conduct the topic modeling. And she adopted the latent delegate allocation model. And for the time being, and if you are not so familiar with the topic modeling, you can just think it a kind of the simplified thematic way for landscaping. And she conducted LDA for 2 rounds. And the first round, she made the topics into the broader area and found that pattern data can be classified into 3 groups: building elements and the structural design and the construction. And if you already have experience to conduct PCT or factor analysis, you may have find some kind of eigenvalue threshold or something. The coherence is something like that. And she decided to have 3 groups and label the for each in the table. And she further conducted the second round LDA for each group and found the, as I wrote here, but she also found there are only 4 patents specifically mentioned to high-rise building use. And I believe the author can make my lecture today's slide can be downloadable for each. So if you want to know specific part, you can download it and read it. And what she wants to say can be summarized as follows. Emerging interest should be directed towards CLT for application in higher structures. And at the end, she said, crucial area deserving attention is the strategic integration of mass timber with the conventional materials like concrete and steel in structural design. This hybrid approach capitalizes on the lightweight and the carbon efficient nature of timber, while simultaneously harnessing the high strength and the stability attributed to traditional building material. And why? Among many other green innovation research, I choose this for this talk. As I mentioned on the way, building high-rise wooden building in tropical country is really challenging. But if we succeed, it will be huge innovation. If some of you will be interested in green innovation, wooden tall building is one of the promising innovation area and very challenging and well demanded how to reduce carbon emission from building, especially in a tropical country. Again, process itself is quite simple and you can mimic all the process. So hopefully some of you will be interested in and to dig further the green innovation in construction or any other industry. Again, this can be done, master student. And this student complete this research project in 9 months. So you can do. And second, research is more professional. And we are still looking for some collaborator in order to expand our research way and to make this research a kind of the comparative research among the ASEAN country. And the title is Analyzing the Indonesia's Biodiesel Landscape. This is ongoing research, mainly investigated by Dr. Alphonse Wen from Bandung Institute of Technology. And we are pursuing to conduct some comparative study between Indonesia and Malaysia. And probably same story can apply and is true in Malaysian context as well. Innovation in the energy field is important and imperative to achieve net zero emission. And as you can see, Indonesia has high opportunity to grow the national economy through palm oil-based renewable energy. Indonesia is at the top and Malaysia follows. And Thailand ranked at third. But sharp difference between top two and followers. So if Indonesia and Malaysia as a country well developed a good strategy, they can be the leader of palm oil-based renewable energy. That is the real motivation behind this strategy, this research project. And as you can see on the right, Indonesia's biodiesel consumption in 2030 is projected to continue to increase up to 8.49% compared to the last year. But again, although Indonesia is ranked at top in total production, they are not top consumer. EU is the largest consumer in the world. Probably you may have the similar data in biodiesel production on the use of biodiesel in Malaysia in context. But when it comes to Indonesia, we can summarize some milestone event in this way. In 2006, introduction of B01 mandate. If you are not so familiar with the B something, B01 means 1% of the fuel into the traditional oil. And between 2014 and 2016, gradual increase in the biodiesel brand to B10, B15, and finally B20. I'm not sure the Malaysian current progress, but as far as I know, Malaysia already succeed to B10 or B15 or something. And in 2018, just before COVID-19, nationwide adoption of the B20 blend and consolidating the biodiesel policy. And now Indonesia is at this phase. In 2023, last year, Indonesia implemented B35 mandate, increasing the biodiesel content to 35%. And the second, they have very ambitious goal to pursue B40 with preparation underway for ultimate aim of achieving B100. Again, providing this data, the total production of palm oil based on the biofuel product, there should be huge chance for Indonesia and Malaysia to be the leader of biodiesel innovation. What we want to investigate is whether current Indonesian or the Malaysian strategy will be capable or suitable for achieving leading position in this particular innovation. And after doing the extensive expert interview, we found these four are major challenges in biodiesel development in Indonesia. First, supply and demand imbalances. Because for Japanese, it cannot easy to imagine, but palm oil is basically produced for the cook use or something else, not for the consumption as the the energy for the transformation. So there is huge gap in supply and demand. And second, like other developing countries, policy is inconsistent and always suffer from execution program. They can say something, but they never implement. And third, lack of cohesive direction in innovation to stimulate long-term development in biodiesel technology, although they have very good roadmap. And finally, technological research limitation to support the implementation of biodiesel mandate. This reason is very simple. You can immediately point out, due to the sharp upsurge of the EV, some country is still wondering which will be the mainstream, EV or biofuel car. I'm not sure Malaysia, the current situation, but Indonesia is in the middle. Because, as you know, Indonesia built a very strong relationship with China. And China is the most powerful promoter of EV. So, in order to keep the very strong industrial relationship with China, probably for Indonesian government, promoting EV should be better because, you know, EV has very large ecosystem. Of course, they never turn down the promotion of the biodiesel. But for me and for us, the Indonesian government is still wondering which should be the right way and how to develop the strategy to balance these two. But you know, the recent trend and globally, we'll see there are many challenges to disseminate EV because building the ecosystem very difficult. So this will be also very good, the political and the business research needed about the readiness of the EV or something. And providing that, as I mentioned, if innovation will be sparked and will occur where the production is ongoing, Indonesia has good place, as well as Malaysia, to lead the innovation. But unfortunately, government policy is concentrated on market to approach, as you can see this slide. Again, probably if you have the least knowledge about this issue, it's okay just to say B1, B01, or B10, B20, B40 or something. It's not just a matter of the production, of the putting the many more biofuel into the oil and the problem solution finished. Never. We need more technological innovation and the research. However, we see there is no complete strategy and the policy from Indonesian government to invent or to do some research how to initiate the innovation in branding technology and how to disseminate and how to expand the market. And another issue and the external issue is coming from EU. As you can see in the prior slide, EU is the largest consumption of the biofuel However, as you can see on the right, Europe must remove the anti-dumping import duty of 8.8% from 8.8% to 23.3% for fuel exports from Indonesia. Otherwise, market will shrink, but they never stop. If EU keep enhancing and increasing biofuel consumption or the palm oil-based biofuel consumption, probably they may be very rich consumer. They can pay extra money. So supply of the palm oil from the cooking purpose to the transportation purpose do smoothly succeed, but never. So far, although and despite the ambitious the strategic target of the biodiesel expansion, it's not made a significant contribution of the use of the fossil oil. You can see on the left, reducing dependence on imports of the petroleum is the main goal of implementing a biodiesel in Indonesia. When it comes to Malaysia, the story is somewhat different. In order to enhance energy portfolio, because Malaysia is exporter. So if we can make some comparative study in Malaysia and Indonesia, what will be the strategic contrast between oil exporter and oil importer, yet producing the top palm oil producer, meaning that energy portfolio issue. And in order to investigate this issue, we decided to adopt technological innovation system. And we already finished the data collection based on this framework and see some finding. And I can tell you about some finding. As you can see in this slide, we first investigate the research trend. Look at the middle. In between 2016 and 2023, significant increase to an average of 51 papers per year, but with a decrease on average citation to 8.3 per publication. And we also found from the systematic literature review, the papers focused on the environmental impact of biodiesel production and the potential of the alternative sources like petroleum process. And categories in the research area like this. And we find Indonesia biodiesel research is mapped through three measurement dimensions: number of the publication, average number of the active publication, and an average number of the citation. And Indonesia's biodiesel research in energy and environmental science, no, or if any, only this research is conducted in application or business field. And this slide shows those issues a little bit from different year and the time-wise. But it's already 1550, so I will briefly mention what I want to say. Look at the bottom. The Indonesian government's proactive support for EV since 2019 through incentives and regulatory framework has led to a decrease in biodiesel research focused on transportation. Consequently, the emphasis has shifted toward biodiesel application in industry and power plant, reflecting strategic pivot in response to evolving energy policies and market demands. Why I want to say this? Indonesia, as a top biofuel producer, already pivoted their strategic direction. You know, Indonesia is the second, providing the turbulent period in terms of the energy portfolio in Indonesia. If Malaysia will successfully develop very good strategy, there may be huge chance for Malaysia to lead biofuel innovation. That's why we are really interested in doing some research or to be lectured from some of the innovation researcher in Malaysia. What will be the possible scenario and what will be the possible strategy in order to make the Malaysia plays a crucial role of the dissemination of the biofuel and to be the center of the biofuel innovation, but not in engineering issue, rather ecosystem or the business. But after conducting patent issue, Indonesia still has many problems. Most of the patent registered in Indonesia related to biofuel. Many come from foreign countries. Meaning that if Indonesia will successfully transform the biofuel, the energy consumption from traditional oil to palm oil-based biofuel, all the money will be captured by foreign countries. That's what we are really worrying about. Of course, from Japanese perspective, one of the, although it's becoming less shabby and shabby, but from developing perspective, the country perspective, it may be welcome because developing country and the rich producer does not care so much about capturing value. But this issue will be crucial if Indonesia or Malaysia will be the innovative country. So, as you can see in this slide, many patents are registered in US and Japan and Australia or some other country. Again, there are huge chances for Malaysia as well. And if some of you will be interested in this issue, you don't need to know so much about the technical aspect of the biofuel. Rather, how we can convince Indonesian government or here, for instance, let's say Petronas or some other producers, why there is huge chance. That's not a matter of technology. That's a matter of the business. So I hope some of you will be interested in this particular topic and doing some research in innovation. And hopefully to help the Malaysia prosper, not only in oil production, that are the next leader in biofuel. Of course, we have to say sorry if EV dominates the world. That's all from me, and it's all the 3 years passed, and thank you for your patience. And hopefully if you want to discuss with me, and I am always ready to talk through online or something. So please contact Dr. Alpha in case, and I am always happy to talk with you. And if someone are assigned to afternoon session, the afternoon session is another part of my entire research today. So hope to be patient again, and hopefully I can spare 15 or 10 minutes for Q&A session in the afternoon. Thank you for your patience, and some of you see you later in the afternoon.
In the Webex itself, there is no question, but I have two questions. One is, can ChatGPT help the researcher to find some sort of uniqueness or novelty from
No.
research?
It can never tell you what is novel,
So,
but they are very good at showing the catalog.
so still the researcher need to figure it out.
Yes.
But then you did mention on how the prompt is time-based based on the input and that stuff, but is there any proper flow of giving prompt to the generative AI focusing on the students' research project?
Probably I am still learning, of course, and but especially I hope at first you will try, some of your students will try my suggestion. This is my current conclusion, the efficient way. But again, I am still learner, and I have not so confident this is the best way, but this is my tentative conclusion. But again, if some of your students will find the efficient way, please share.
Yeah, but then how can we enhance our prompting skill, Prof?
Keep asking. Again, if some of you are the young student, I want you to, sorry. I strongly suggest youngsters to adopt this approach. Narrowing down, right? And actually, I usually direct my student to do this process and keep asking at least 30 times. But one restriction is never ask different questions. Keep narrowing down.
So the keyword is narrowing down.
But if your students stop as I just told you, just of the second or third question, they may conclude ChatGPT is useless. Yeah, apply. Because it's a kind of more like the textbook.
But some of the references suggested by the ChatGPT are incorrectly rephrased. So still there is a need.
Of course. But I intentionally did not talk about the hallucination issue. Hallucination is the wrong information issue. Okay? Because if you will keep narrowing down, you will understand the algorithm behind. You can check. If you stop answering the first few questions, it's very hard to ensure whether the data answer is correct or not. Because if you stop at that phase, ChatGPT's recommendation criteria is still in the black box. To evaluate whether the answer is right or wrong, we need to understand their dimension and the filtering process. So, like the next slide, if we see this, we can check. So, I suggest you to use the term best. Then you can and your student can understand from what dimension ChatGPT gives answer. But this is one of the must skill for the next generation business person. But as you mentioned, I was surprised many youngsters stopped asking the first few questions and conclude ChatGPT is not so useful. Or just believe the answer. Yes.
I guess. Thank you so much, Prof, for this morning session. It's very fresh idea, I would say, and thank you for listing all the possible questions that we can ask to the ChatGPT and guide us through how ChatGPT is not rigid being used that you can just believe the answer, but then you need to be creative and rather than just believe. All right. As for the audience online, please fill in the form of the attendance and hope to see you guys in the afternoon session at 2 p.m. Thank you so much.
But Alpha, if you want to guide the students to let them learn when ChatGPT will tell a lie, I will tell you the technique.
Okay.
Yeah, because we, in collaboration with the IT specialists, to identify to detect the logic behind the algorithm behind when ChatGPT cannot answer the lie.
Maybe it's not a lie, it's just.
Yes, so that's why. Yeah. So yes, it's not a matter of the data itself, but a matter of the algorithm.
Like the one that you mentioned earlier, the hands-on activity,
Yes,
I did put it in my ChatGPT, and some of it gives two responses that I get to choose which one is much more better.
Yes. But after conducting your project, the AI project, in the 1 year or the 2 year, and if you conclude the average knowledge about the AI among the student will be enhanced, I will guide the more about the risk of hallucination. Hallucination is the unexpected answer. But that's Next,